Sir, Majuli at a glance, Majuli is a carved out as a Jorhat of Assam district earlier, was declared is a full-fledged district in 8 September 2016. Majuli is the largest river island of the world, sir, and spreading over an area of the 483 square kilometers surrounded by the mighty river Brahmaputra. Sir, it is the epicenter of the Neo-Vaishnavite culture and Satra institutions. So basically, the primary a rural district with a total population 1.67 in the as per 2011 census. As of now, it is 204 lakhs, sir, out of which 46% and 14% respectively belongs to STs and SEs as per the census 2001. Majority of the populations depends on the agriculture and allied sectors. The island district do not have any major industrial establishments. Sir, Amar Majuli, it is a flagship program and initiative of the Deputy Commissioner Majuli, sir. Assam, wherein a platform is provided for the farmers to interact directly with the officials of the various departments of the district, as well as the financial institutions like banks, etc., to resolve their issues and the concerns. The basic features that we have sorted out, held every Friday, preferably in the week, to meet 50 progressive farmers. Once a month, it is organized in a community hall to ensure the participation large number of farmers like 800 to 1000, like that only. Felicitation of the new farmers performing well in agriculture, fishery, animal husbandry, etc. Dissemination of the information on welfare schemes of the government, participations of the rural farmers in government institutions and schemes. These are our basic problems. So what led us to unique initiative of the Amar Majuli? Basically, in Assam, in Majuli district, we do not have any history of the paddy selling to the FCI, the government of India. This is the first time from the independence to increase the paddy procurement program in the district, to bring the confidence and the bridge up gap between the farmers and the government officials, doubling the farmers' income by issuing MSP to the farmers, winning away the misguided youth from drugs and militancy, etc., to create awareness on various welfare schemes and achieve the targets to enhance the productions and productivity of the agriculture through scientific means, to halt youth migrating to other states to find livelihood here. It is pertinent to mention here, sir, a lot of youths, they are migrating to outside of the state in every year, sir. Socio-economy upliftment of the rural farmers, and to build Amar Majuli as a marketing brand of the agriculture product and export to the other areas, particularly to foreign also, sir. Now, slightly slum innovations. These are simply concept one, sir. So direct line of communications between the farmers, various government line departments, and the financial institutions. This is our bottom line, sir. Farmer inspires the farmer to take up the agriculture cultivation in the right way. We are discussing some of the farmers. These farmers will go their villages and they will take up the, they will also inspire the other farmers of that villages to take up the agriculture cultivation in the right way, sir. So multi-department approach to monitor and guide the farmers. It's a basic thing of our government, sir. We do not have any, sir, multi-department approach. We are going on parallel on this, sir. As for example, irrigation is a different, agriculture different department, irrigation is a different department. So we have to merge the irrigations and the agriculture departments. Scientific approach to enhance the production and productivity, engaging women, SSG and Jivika Sakhi. I personally, district magistrate, I believe the power of the women empowers, basically, because they are guiding their family, they can guide the society, they can guide the district, they guide the state, sir. So we had some challenges earlier, sir. Basically, we do not have any institution procuring agency like FCI, NAFED, etc. in districts. We do not have any infrastructure like big godams to store the rice and the paddy and millers to milling, sir, rice mills. Whenever FCI have set up the paddy procurement center for the first time, so abysmal paddy procurement in the first 3 months, only 120 MP, sir. After that, sir, and secondly, lack of awareness and trust in government machinery among the farmers, whether they will get the MSP or not, they have big doubt on their mind during the earlier stage of the paddy procurement. For a flat-prone district like Majuli, 1000 MT of paddy to be procured was a daunting task at that time, sir. So little progress we have achieved so far, sir. Petty procurement increased 150 MT in the month of March to 734.54 MT by the end of the season, and all total 1 crore 45 lakhs has been done to the accounts of the farmers. I think I am satisfied with that only, sir, being a district minister, sir. Establishment of the 8 number of subsidy-based godown. Basically, we do not have any godowns to store it. Now, government has given us a subsidy. We have discussing the entire subsidy scheme, the Amar Majuli platform. So 8 entrepreneurs, they have come up and they have already started their godowns, sir. For next petty season, this will be helpful, very much helpful for us, sir. Farmer adopting SRI technology. This is a good thing for us, sir, to increase their production and productivity, sir. 3 new farmers, the new ones, a young boy, 3 new farmer producer companies, having almost 1,500 farmer in each company. Farmer producers company have been started to produce onion, king chili, and red rice. We are exporting also that, sir. 3 new young millers, they have come forward to take part in the milling process. Earlier, we have a very small pretty mill because it's a very rural district, sir. Very small district, we do not have any farm milling things, sir. Like our flagship program of our Honorable Prime Minister, sir, PM Kisan, we can able to achieve 100% Aadhaar setting with the help of this Aadhaar Majuli and other parameter also, sir. Now, basically, we are aiming a organic Majuli. Majuli is an organic hub, organic farming and vermicomposting at every household. We are inspiring them with a little amount they have received from the PM Kisan. They will make some vermicompost, very small vermicompost tent in their own houses. So as of now in Majuli, we have a 34,000 number of the family, particularly for the culticulture family. They had more or less, they have already 80% they have completed. Rest 20% will complete in 2-3 months for the vermicompost. So will not use any other fertilizer chemical. As like the cases are being applied and sanctioned is a war-footing manner, because in Amar Majuli platform we are inviting the bank officials, sir. The basic thing is Majuli is a God-gifted because it's a riverine district by the mighty Brahmaputra. We have a lot of fishery, but we do not have any small piece. So new hatchery has been constructed by a young farmer. So veterinary sector and Amrit Sarovar sector, we are also doing with the help of this Amar Majuli, sir. Sir, potential for replicability is like that. The term Majuli means our Majuli. It creates a sense of belongingness in the locality. Whatever I have said, these are state government procedure, government programs. But the medium as a district administrator, as a district minister, I am taking this medium as a Amar Majuli to bring the welfare of the government to the farmer only, sir. So for their belongingness, we have mentioned this name, this Amar Majuli, or it's called our Majuli, like our own family, our family. It's a sense of belongingness, sir. This is their own, sir. Knowledge platform, experienced professional gives lecture on farming and GOP schemes. Farmer inspire farmer, where champion farmer guide motivates and other farmers in their villages after attending an Amar Majuli discussion, sir. Multi-departmental approach for intensive monitoring of the farmer production, resolving manpower shortage. Basically, Majuli is a newly created district. We do not have so much of officers. So we are taking a multi-department approach, sir. So we are deputing our officer to supervise and monitor the agricultural system of the district, sir. Special care is taken for women, as I have already mentioned, for women farmer to recognize and award them. And farmers can organize Amar Majuli in their villages, which will reduce the government expenditure and budget. Because our Majuli is our zero budget things. This is a concept only, sir. And the medium for me, sir, for district administration government. The villagers serve as a means of information carriers of the villages. The model is sustainable, approachable, beneficial, especially farmer in the disadvantaged and backward areas, sir. Sir, we have some future plans, sir. Future roadmap, like we are thinking the Amar Majuli, Amar Gaon, our Majuli, our village. We'll form a team in each and every village, a proposed concept to own up farming and other government schemes based on the sentiments of their locality. So each and every planning, we have a 264 number of villages will going to form 264 number of Amar Majuli, Amar Gaon teams, sir. So marketing brain, all the agriculture products from the Majuli small scale industry can be branded under the umbrella term Amar Majuli for exporting to different parts of the world. Entrepreneurship, sir. New class of entrepreneurs in milling, Gudam for storage, logistics apexa, they are coming up. Women empowerment, special guidance and emphasis will be on women farmers, particularly tribal women, because our tribal women are very good and very much approaching their handloom and other things are farming. They are helping, sir. So this will be our main thrust, sir. Now, sir, zero budget natural farming, organic farming, vermicompost at every household and kitchen gardening. So we have keeping this zero budget natural farming, sir. Agrotourism. Agrotourism, farming land will be developed as a tourism. Sir, Majuli is a tourist spot. In winter, a lot of tourists has comes to Majuli, but during the summer seasons, we are planning to build some small hut in the paddy field. Now the tourists like sir, Delhi, Mumbai, they will come, they will enjoy for a day in the paddy field. They can take part in the farming system also. They will have the food. With the food they have the farmers. So this will be a great aid to for our farmers, sir. So yellow Majuli. Sir, mustard is our district crops. And we had a production last year 60,000 quintals. So we have double it at sir, 1,20,000 quintals. So next winter, I think sir, Majuli will be the yellow one. Because sir, we have a 18 operational small mustard mill where in the district, sir, currently Majuli Riverbank flood FPC is constructing a large-scale mustard mill under the guidance of the APART, which is scheduled to be inaugurated in 26 July, and the products will be marketed under umbrella Amar Majuli. Sir, I should mention, generally, sir, normal the mustard oil, it will 200 to 220, but we can provide the whole of the Assams almost 180 rupees, 160 to 180 rupees purely mustard oil, sir. So this is our future roadmap. This is all about that, sir. Amar Majuli is a simple medium for us. This medium we are using to reach out the all our villages and all our cultivables, sir, so that the Majuli can grow, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Jury members.
Thank you. It's you have proven that the small is a beautiful thing.
Sir.
Your island being, in a different situation, but the way you approach the agriculture and the farmers in such a way that it has facilitated in an easy way to adopt new crops, new methods, and to ensure that you get the higher yielding, and you provide market linkages, and you also have entrepreneur participation and bringing market to the island. So this is very important turnaround in a country where we are agriculturally based, and farmers, when they are especially hard pressed to survive and sometimes to continue doing cultivation. And the important thing that you say, of all these things, the mustard or any other item that you diversified and grown in an organic way, this is a very welcome thing, and it's something very inspiring for others as well, because you set an example of success. Now the question is that what would be the picture, what would be the achievement we would reflect upon and manifest, saying that yes, with this innovative focused approach we have achieved in certain things. For example, put it everything in one part, so what would be the economic gain of a family that you can mention or you can reflect upon, since your new approach and new support and new assistance have been given? So to that extent, I can say that if you can conduct a comprehensive study and bring out in a publication, that will be quite encouraging for others to see that here is a model successful, we can adapt to that. So that's otherwise, it's a fantastic initiative. It's very nice to know that the strength of the country is built on again over the strength. Thank you.
Sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
actually, I applaud your initiative. Basically, since you are not spending any money, it's a zero budget concept. The concept is yielding results. And I understand how difficult it must be to do it in such a difficult area, because I remember in 2002, way back in 2002, in the month of July, August, I was heading a project where we transported computers and a satellite system to Majuli, because it was submerged in water at that time. That the equipment were transported on an elephant,
Yes.
and that was in 2002. I'm talking about 2002 July August. So I understand how difficult it is, and still you have done, and without spending any money. It's only the concept and awareness creation. Basically, creating awareness among the people, and especially with the talks we're talking about the experienced persons and the specialist experts, as well as the farmers who have been doing it. So that gives credibility to the concept, and the results are showing. So it's really very good, and I just hope that you can inspire in other districts who are also having such kind of difficult terrain to follow it. And it just shows that how, if somebody wants to take initiative, can do wonders. It's not only money under this government scheme which can do improve the people's lot, but it is also the implementation modality and innovative thing, out of box thinking by the implementers. Congratulations to you for your good work.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I would like to just share that I am actually basically from Delhi, and this was my first posting in Assam, and I was working as a doctor earlier. So this whole mission of Zero SAM is going to include a lot of things which even I learned when I came to Assam, and also a bit of my medical knowledge was used here. Starting from the first screen, this mission Zero SAM was actually focused mainly on the tea garden population. Talking about the tea gardens here, I have 9 tea gardens under my subdivision, and the most peculiar thing which you will find in this tea garden is that the ladies of these houses, they go for their work around 8 in the morning, and then they are back in the house by 4 in the afternoon. And this typical work takes place 7 days a week. So, to get them in the Anganwadis and to tell them that your child is weak and your child needs attention, your child is suffering from SAM, was the biggest challenge which I had to face. Second problem with the tea tribe was their eating habit. They had a very peculiar eating habit of having tea. Along with that, they will have salt, which is a very odd way of having food, because whatever they eat, the vitamins and everything, there's a deficiency of them coming up just because the tea and the salt try to act as counterpart, and they don't let the vitamins consume it. So there was a behavioral problem which we had to face. Third thing was, most of the ladies of the tea gardens were illiterate. Most of them did not even have an idea about how to have a bank account or what are the benefits the government is giving. So they did not have that idea. So this was the first problem which we had to face about the demography, And the third part and the last part with the demography was, most of them were daily workers. So they used to go and they used to keep their child, with the old people, or their children were all dependent on their siblings. So even if we used to find some SAM child there, it was very difficult to convince them that you have to go and stay in a NRC, or you have to spend for 14 days, you have to stay there. You have to leave your sibling child there, only the mother and the child can stay. So convincing them was a big problem. So at the same time, when we elaborated the NRC, we realized that though it is only 10 bedded, but most of the times, either the children were not admitted, or whoever were admitted, they were used to run away from that NRC because they thought that they are losing on their wages. So this was a typical problem of the T tribe, which we realized that we need to cater. Second challenge was, which we realized was a very difficult way of finding out what SAM is, what MAM is. For an ASHA worker and for an ANM of an Anganwadi worker, she is not that technically sound. I've like during my visits in the Anganwadis, I realized that even if you tell them to look at the growth chart, they will look at the height at one end, and on the other end, they will just try to see the weight of the child. Like they don't know how to prepare, how to read that particular growth chart also. So we simplified the things for them. We told them, okay, you just find out the height of the child, you find out the weight of the child, and then we will give you a simple formula, nothing else. You just go through that chart, you look at that, there's a girl or a boy, and you just simply just check them that way. So you go by the height for their, weight for their particular height. This was a single definition that we took for SAM. And at the same time, the NRC nutritionist, we told her that you are supposed to also follow the same criteria for admitting the child, so that there is no confusion. Because we had some anecdotes where Anganwadi worker used to get the children to the NRC, then NRC used to deny them by saying that your child is not SAM. Then the parents used to feel that why this one day burden has been given to us. So these are the two important challenges which we were facing. The third challenge which we faced was that most of the community participation, family members participation was not there. It was completely and solely responsibility of the female, that she's supposed to take care of the health of the child. And I think that is very common with all the ICDS program going on in the country. So it was a common problem which we also faced. Apart from that, there was no convergence between the departments. We realized that for every small thing, we had to add for some new resources. So getting something from the different departments at no cost was our aim. So these were some of the most important challenges that we had to face. So I'll straight away start with the solution part. Talking about the solution, first one I have already discussed, that simplified the definition of SAM. Second was regarding complementary feeding, because there was a typical trend that we saw, that whenever the child is weaning off, whenever they are turning from 6 months or they are going towards 1 year, most of our SAM children were actually in that particular bracket. So this Poshan Mela was something which was very common, which was happening in other places also, but it was a learning for me too. In Assam, we have so many, so many green vegetables. They are known by different names. They know so many bhajis to make, but these ladies themselves do not know that this is to be eaten when they are pregnant. This is to be eaten when they are, when their child is, in the weaning phase. So this Poshan Mela was not just for the display of the food. We also demonstrated how to exactly cook that food, how to make food energy dense. We also had introduced a concept of Nutri Bar and also Amla candy, so that a woman in a very small quantity can feed her child and the nutrition level can go up. This was Poshan Mela and Poshan Pakghar. At the same time, we focus in the Poshan Panchayats. This involvement of Panchayat was very important. We realized that completely relying on the Anganwadi worker will not suffice our demand. So in this Poshan Panchayat, we try to get the PHE on board, because most of these tea tribes, wherever they are staying, they do not have a proper sanitation facility. So PHE department was called in this Poshan Panchayat. Then PRI members were called and they were told that in their GPDPs, their GP development plans, they are supposed to include something related to sanitation. Either it is a drinkable water, or either it is a sanitary provision, like for some toilets, and as far as possible for the pregnant female and as well as the adolescent girls in their premises, if something like this can come up. So panchayats were made aware that your role is also as important as it is important for the ICDS. The third intervention, which is actually I'm going to talk about in the later half, is a mobile nutrition rehabilitation unit. This was one of the biggest flaws which we found, that female or the child parents are reluctant to come to the NRC. They feel that spending 14 days in NRC and losing out onto their wages was not worth it, their child's health. So we started with the concept of mobile NRC, where it was a simple concept where the mobile medical units which are working under the NHM, we actually equipped them with a proper laboratory technician. There's already doctor existing in them. There's already a lab technician. We just made them equipped that this ASHA and this ANM is going to contact you regarding a SAM child. You are supposed to go there, collect the the blood sample of the child and try to know whether it is disease or not. The third thing is regarding the formula feed. I'll be talking about in the later half. Can you just change the second slide? Second slide, please. Yeah, this unique solution, actually, we made a very simple solution to ourselves that we will involve the community. The first phase was that we will identify the child. That was done by the Ashas and the Anganwadi workers. We actually made 3 monitoring committees. The first was actually a surveillance committee, which will include the Asha workers, ANMs, Anganwadi workers, and ward members of that particular village. They will go identify the child, simplify the data, and then we will present this list with the panchayat, where the panchayat president, there's a concept of Gaon Budas in Assam, and also the VDPs. There's a 3-tier system which actually works in the village level. So we asked them that this list now goes to you. Now you know which are the houses which are having a SAM child. And at the same time, we told the Asha workers to place red, yellow, and green color flags in the houses of the children, in the houses which had a SAM child. So identification of that house becomes easy for everyone, whether it is from the department, whether it is from the panchayats. So surveillance committee would give us the list. Then there was a convergence committee where we included our ICDS supervisors who were already there. Then we also included the teachers, because teachers were locally already involved in other things of electoral role and all. So they were quite aware. So Asha supervisors, ICDS supervisors, and school teachers, their work was to actually alternately go and see whether they are feeding the child on time or not, what kind of feed has been given. Then from that convergence committee, a report would come up that this child has started improving. On that convergence committee, we prepared a monitoring committee, which actually included these PRI members and Gaon Pradhans. So this was actually a 4-level where we tried, this was a 3-tier surveillance where we tried to solve the problem that if one of the level doesn't go and check the child, the other one keeps a check. Because health of the child doesn't become a priority for the family, as I told you, because they are mostly the tea garden workers. Can I have the next slide, please? Talking about the unique solutions at the community level, I'm pretty sure that a lot of solutions have already been placed in other parts of the country, like Suposhan Divas, where we specifically try to get the fathers, the grandfathers, we try to celebrate that time, that you need to look at your child, it is your responsibility too, it is not just the women's responsibility. Godh Barai was organized. Then Annaprashan and Panchaprashan is one of the concepts where you introduce foods to the child, because we realize that weaning is the time where they specifically slip into a SAM child. Then we also organize Poshan Panchayats, and what is more interesting about Assam is that there is a lot of water, there's a lot of space within the vicinity of the people's houses, but they themselves are too much focused on either specifically our tea gardens, they're more focused on either the tea, the salt, and more they will focus only on the paddy part, like they will only just have salt, they have rice only, they don't want to diversify their food. So for sustaining that, we try to introduce the concept of Nutri Garden. I have seen in a lot of other places also they introduce this concept of Nutri Garden. Here what we did a convergence with other departments. Like with the health department, with the agriculture department, we try to take on board the Kisan Vikas Kendras also. And at the same time, we asked the agriculture department to provide us with good quality seeds. At the same time, KVK was supposed to give them the training, so that people try to understand that how they can locally grow it and how they can diversify their food from the locally grown stuff, so that they don't have to, additionally, they don't have to invest something. Then we also had a convergence with the veterinary department where we asked them, they have a lot of schemes under CM, under CM scheme of their veterinary department, they have a lot of schemes where they give chicks and they give hen to the family. So we thought that this will be a two-way benefit to the family. First, it will add on to the protein content of whatever the meal the child is taking. Secondly, it will be a source of income for the women specifically. So she doesn't have to rely on the male counterpart for the, the income source. At the same time, we also converge with the block, with the BDO level. Actually, BDO has ASLRM is actually a rural livelihood mission going on. And also, we also have the same mission going on in our urban places. So what we did, we asked the BDO to enroll these mothers who are having a SAM child, whose houses have been flagged with red, yellow, and green, so that these women specifically have some source of income. If they have a source of income, they have a say. So this is what we did. We asked the BDO to specifically involve these ladies in the SHG groups. And from the banks, we requested them to at least open a bank account for the women, at least a Jan Dhan account, so that with the minimal data, with the minimal papers, they can actually open a bank account, because we realized that most of the ladies were not able to get the benefits of Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana just because they did not have a bank account. Rest they had everything. So we try to run a drive, we try to run a week specifically for PMVYB, just to sure that there is a bank account and they are ready to open the bank account for the women. And the last convergence was the most important convergence, which was actually with the health department. Can you please change the slide? This mobile medical unit is actually the innovative part which we did. What we did, we actually took the mobile medical unit of the NHM, and then we equipped them with a laboratory. There was already a lab technician, there was already a doctor. We just gave them the list of the SAM children. Along with them, we also told the ASHA workers and ANMs to accompany them. After that, we prepared a proper manual was prepared for training the ASHA workers and the ANM. This manual actually had IMNCI guidelines. When I was a doctor, this guidelines used to come in a paper and a book. It was a very simple guideline. If a child is having a respiratory rate beyond 30 per minute, then the child is sick. If that child is having a fever, the child is sick. If the child is having diarrhea, the child is sick. If the child is having anemia, or if you just go for some skin disease, the child is sick. So our concept was very clear. If the child is sick and also SAM, we will try to send the child to the NRC, but after a proper blood sample and proper antibiotic dose. But if the child is only SAM and there is only a factor of nutrition, then we don't need to burden that family, also the NRC, with the child. This child will be treated at their home itself. So at the same time, we asked the NRC nutritionist to prepare us a pamphlet, and the last diagram is not visible, but the formula feed 75 and formula feed 100 was given in the NRC. We told the nutritionist to teach this to the ASHA workers, that to teach them that how 3 spoons can actually be equivalent to 75 grams of puffed rice. So this simple, measuring with the cup and with a spoon was easy to be repeated in the houses. So this had 2 advantages. Firstly, there was less burden on the NRC. Secondly, the mothers were ready to make it in their home. Thirdly, the mothers were able to retain that knowledge for a long time, because it was a typical observation. Once the child goes away from the NRC, their weight again slips back to SAM. So they again go back just because they are too much dependent on NRC food. The mother has no knowledge that what exactly they are feeding the child. So we simplified this formula feed 75 and 100. We made it very clear that you try with your tablespoon and teaspoon, you can make it in your house. If your child is recovering, try to treat them at the house itself. So it was a very important step where we could reduce the footfall in the NRC, and at the same time, we could follow up the SAM child. So once this child was recovering, if the child shifts from SAM to MAM, the red flag was removed. Now only yellow flag was there and green flag was there. And at the same time, the departments would come and also check that whether their chickens were working or not. The KVK team will come and see whether the feed, the seeds which we have been are working or not. So this was a continuous monitoring process. The second innovation I have talked about, Poshan Paghar, where we typically focused on how to make energy dense food, and a lot of the Anganwadi workers had a brilliant knowledge, and they had so many local foods available, which they actually showed and they actually demonstrated. So it was a big innovation from our side. Second was Mukta Man. Actually, this program was started last year when we had just come up from the COVID. And a lot of our senior citizens were coming to the office and they're like, madam, we want to get involved. We are feeling isolated. So Mukta Man was actually a type of a digital platform which we started. And initially we thought that the oldies, if they can go and actually, supervise the mothers, the senior citizen can go and supervise the mothers, where they have a large experience of actually taking care of their children and grandchildren. So we try to connect them also through Mukta Man. The deep portion we have talked about Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana, we specifically focused on the bank accounts. And the last thing which we did was adoption of SAM child. Can you please change the slide? I think it is not changed on this one. Yeah, I've talked about Poshan Paghar, Mukta Man and Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana Saptah we had celebrated. This adoption of SAM child was something which we did in the end of our project actually, because a lot of children who had recovered from SAM and had gone to a MAM level and also had gone to a normal level, we had this fear that they will slip back to SAM. So we thought of adopting a SAM child. Initially, we focused on the Naharjung Tea state, And me myself, three children from my CDPO and also from our portion team, we try to adopt some 10 children, and we try to find out that how much long we can focus on them and how long they can sustain themselves. Because it is not very easy for a woman to be in the SHG and again take a decision, because there is a very high tendency of slipping back to SAM again. So we try to focus on some sustainable solutions. Can we have the next slide, please? As far as the excellence part is concerned, I think it is very difficult for me to just say that, yes, today we did these many children and these many have recovered and now they are all free from SAM. Like this mission was, we started the mission mode, now we are continuing as a regular exercise. So we realized that out of 107 SAM children which we had seen at that time, most of them within the 3 months, most of them recovered. Only 20 were there who had actually, would stayed in the red flag zone. And we realized most of them stayed in the red flag zone because typically either they were suffering from some chronic disease or their mothers were actually, having no say in the house. So whatever inputs we were giving them, it was not getting implemented. So as far as quantifiable impact is concerned, I think I will not be able to give a very good picture in this sense, because I feel that SAM is a very continuous process. Nutrition is not a one-day thing. It has to go on and we have to continuously, handhold them. So for quantifiable impact, I'm not that into the mark as my other, colleagues must have said. As far as quantitatively the impact is, we realize that a lot of women are now ready to say that, yes, they are part of the SHG, they are getting an income, they have a chick in their house, they are trying to give protein to their child. Now their knowledge level is increasing. Now they will go to the ICDs and say ki, acha, mera to, I have this 2.5 kgs of rice was designated to me. This much mutter was supposed to be given to me. Now they are becoming aware that this much I will get from the ICDs. They actually come to our meetings and they say, ma'am, my chick has gone, like my chick is not of good quality. Now they're demanding it actually to us. So I realized that now they're getting educated and at the same time they're getting empowered. And at the same time, when we opened their Jan Dhan accounts, we realized that not only the Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana thing is the fund is coming. Now they are trying to save their money from their husbands and now they are putting their money in that account. So that whatever tea garden wages they are getting every day, they are actually, getting used to that account using. Some of them are demanding ATMs, like we want to draw money from our own place and we want to use it for our child.
Sorry to interrupt you. I request you to please conclude now.
Okay, I'll just give me just 2 minutes. So it was actually, I realized that the best part about this Mission Zero SAM was a positive deviance approach, where we tried to focus on the women empowerment, at the same time enrolling them in an SHG group and ensuring that, they take it as a positive step, not as a negative step that somebody from the government is coming and nagging them for a child's development. Can I have the last slide, please? As far as roadmap and replicability is concerned, I think the most replicable part which I can talk about is the mobile medical unit, where I think that all over the country, the NRCs are getting either burdened or either the parents are not coming and staying there. Like that was my experience as a doctor also. People don't stay, they run away. They actually run away after 5-7 days when the child recovers. So one mobile medical unit where a moving car can be a big source for, checking on to this child and treating a child at their home. So this can be one, replicable thing which can be repeated in the whole of the country. The second thing which I feel is that the opening of bank accounts and the coming together of the community, like this red flagging and this community participation, at the same time opening a bank account, can be easily done by other districts also. And if this is done, the women and at the same time the community takes a burden that, yes, it is now my responsibility to take care of the SAM child, and nutrition can be a full-blown, an activity for her. It can be a priority for her, not just earning money, but also spending on her child. So I will not take much time. I would like to conclude and over to the jury for Q&A. Thank you.
Jury members. Panda sir, you are on mute.
Thank you. I have missed out on the major part of your presentation. Nonetheless, I can capture what the reminiscences that I have got from your presentation. It's a very noble and caring effort for a same child by providing all the inputs that are essential and imperative including supplementary nutrition, your bank account mother, and mobile medical unit to the doorstep, and other things that relate to that, which I'm not listing out. So this has done a great thing. Now, the most important part which impressed me is that once the child becomes the status of normal, we are not leaving, but we are reverting back to check if he's slipping back to the the situation he or she was in. So after having gone through the entire whatever little I could listen to, I am very impressed. Impressed in the sense that we need this approach besides others which ICDS, ICDS workers, ASA worker is doing together. But this is something is direct hand-holding and linking in an effective way of implementation and service provided. Thank you. It was very good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I am also quite impressed, especially, and I think the basic reason for that could be because Neha, you being a doctor, you could identify the problem at an early stage. That is number one. Second thing is that you have gone for a convergence mode. No one department, no one person can do this. This is a very gigantic task because you can't do it. It's not a one-time thing. I did this intervention and that's it. No, it has to be a continuously monitoring process, and you have to be after them, because one, the mothers or the family members may not be aware of it. Second, even if they were aware, they are probably financially not capable of handling that. Third thing is that sometimes we need a push to do it. So you provided all three, and from different sources. You mobilizes fund also from different schemes. Not that these schemes are not there; they are there everywhere. But somebody has to do it, and you have done it wonderfully. I appreciate it, and very good job.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Really, very commendable job.
Very good afternoon to all the jury members and all the senior officers who are attending the meeting. I'm presenting on behalf of Collector Neemach. The name of the project is Ensuring Good Health by Strengthening Primary Healthcare. And the name we have given at the regional level is Swasth Jawad Ki Pahal. Jawad is the name of the remotest block in the district of Neemach. So before starting the presentation, I would like to give a brief introduction. Like it is always taught to us, it is always being said by our elders when we were growing that prevention is always better than cure. And it is also being said that health is wealth. But when we see this wealth is always neglected for the sake of earning bread, for sometimes for bread or sometimes for any other reason, maybe social stigma or financial constraint, not only by lower class, but also by middle and upper class for various reasons. So this is very common practice in our country where people continue to ignore their health condition and complication and take over the counter drugs and over the counter medicines on their own without any prescription and consulting the doctor. So what happened ultimately, one day comes where the person encounters a health issue or a situation where they are left with only regrets. And had they given a timely attention to their health, then the situation could have been better. So a simple health issue, which could be cured at a very primary level, becomes severe and life-threatening. So this project basically focuses on these factors where we have tried to inculcate all the factors and try to give a better health facility to the last person in the queue. The target population, which actually the population of the district is 9,59,000. So initially when we were discussing about the project, so we have decided to focus on the remotest tehsil, which is having a population of 2,69,000 and it has 317 villages. And I would like to bring the attention of the jury that this is the remotest tehsil, and to reach the last point of this particular tehsil, it takes around 3.5 hours to travel. And if there even a slightest of the rain, then the culvert or the pulia and pool get over flooded. So it is very difficult in a rainy season to travel to half part of the tehsil. So this is the reason why we have chosen this tehsil. So district administration come up with a project of preventing healthcare services at the primary health level through a PPP model. So the reason for selecting the PPP model, there may be a question which can arise that we are having PHCs at every villages, but we are not having as many diagnostic tools which should be available. So we decided to go on a PPP model where we have talked with many NGOs and health care persons, where they were having expertise, they are having modern equipments, and but government have a center, but they don't have modern diagnostic tool. So we have come together, government and the private sector come together. So it became a win-win situation to both the sectors, like we were getting the services and the private sector which were in the seek of better opportunities. So they got the opportunities through this amalgamation. So this is the basic roadmap of availability of health services. When it comes to Jawat Tehsil, we have only one civil hospital. There is one community health center. There is 11 primary health centers and sub health center and 302 village health centers. These village health centers are being run at every Anganwadi center situated in every village, where basic immunization is being done at these centers. Next is before the change begins. I would like to focus one thing here, that no doctor in this country or anywhere can go for a diagnosis without getting a proper screening of a patient. So we have focused on the screening of each and every person at that particular tehsil. Earlier, there was a very limited source, as it is very well known that PHCs, they don't have modern diagnostic techniques, and unawareness is the issue. And one more thing is there, when it comes to unawareness, it's not only in the villages, even it is in the urban areas, where people are not ready to believe that there is something called hypertension and they are actually ill and they need treatment. So when our team visited, so one of our doctor, when we were having a chat with him, he told that when they tested for hypertension, so there were women who complained that they have worked a lot in a day. That's why it must be because of that. And there were many women who were found to be diabetic, but they were not ready to believe. They were having some other social stigma related to the diabetes. They don't wanted to get it tested. And they were not ready to believe that these kind of problems actually exist. So everybody knows that getting the test done is a very time consuming process. Even if I have to visit a doctor, I have to go to a pathology, I have to get everything tested. If I have to get myself tested for a diabetes, then everybody knows ki one has to go empty stomach and the other will be like random sugar. So the person who is traveling from the remotest part of the district has to visit early in the morning. If he is having a proper convenience available to them, then he can visit in the morning. If it is not, like if any bus or train is not available, then he won't be able to come. So this is a very time consuming process, and also they strain their pockets. It's very expensive. During last 2.5 years, everybody must have come to know that this is like we all have got tested in the COVID scenario. The testing is very expensive. So in limited resources, unawareness, time consuming, and the most important thing, we don't have data. If I have visited a doctor 2 or 3 months ago, then I am the person who will forget what is being diagnosed to me and what was the result of my test. So these are the constraints. So these are the areas which we have tried to focus in this project. These are the some glimpses where of the testing we have done. Conceptualization is very clear. The NIMACH takes the lead vision for health for all, making it a reality. In this, we have done the screening of various of basic vital testing, which we call to each and every person in the tehsil. These are the basic challenges which we try to address, like the outreach, ensuring the last mile service delivery, strengthening the PHCs. By strengthening, I mean that with the amalgamation of this private sector and the involvement of our doctors, we try to give the advanced diagnostic tool at the PHC with the person who is expertise in running that particular tool. And then it has easy access to expert consultation. I will come in next slide that how it has made easy access. Unawareness amongst the public, lack of health record of the population. This is a very important point. In regular monitoring of patients. The implementation, as I told, that we decided to do the screening of the entire population of the tehsil, which was 2,69,000. So we did, and we have created a database of the health record of those population for which we have performed the test. I would like to focus on one thing, that doing a screening is a one thing and referring a patient is another thing. But we have a 12-hour call center in which on the daily basis, we randomly call the people, those who are supposed to visit the doctor, and those who were found ill in some or other ways, or those who were found diabetic or having low bone density, or maybe in some other parameter. So there is a call center which is being monitored by our block medical officer and the subdivision magistrate. They monitor that and they go for this follow-up on the daily basis. And also there is a team which is deployed by ANM and ASHA. They go door to door for the visit. So these are the tests these are the tests which were being performed on each and every person on the primary basis. The basic is liver function test, renal function test, cardiac test, and through spirometer we have COPD testing was done, and like vital function like ECG, SpO2 and blood pressure and temperature is done, and in some persons thyroid testing was also done. So these are the testing which we have included and created a database for all the patient for whom we have tested. So these were the things which we have adopted. Like if a person found normal and then some advice was required, then they were sent for regular public health center for advice for a healthy lifestyle. And if any deviation occur in the basic CBC testing or the basic vital testing, then these are sent to expert consultation, and we are still offering a telemedicine by our expert doctors. And if they require secondary treatment, so these patients are referred to the suitable hospital. And also these patients are given benefit under Ayushman Yojana. So this is like going hand to hand with the Ayushman Yojana, providing the screening beforehand before getting the treatment done. These are the salient features. A complete health checkup was done on 1.36 lakh patient, and the results are uploaded on the cloud. Uploaded on the cloud means it is available to our block medical officer, and a separate health ID is created of every patient, and they are given ID and password so they can access to it. And through they are also being kind of attached with the Ayushman ID also. There is an option on Ayushman ID, so you can add this ID into the Ayushman ID, where if the person visits another doctor, so that doctor can actually access his last history or the last testing which was done and the results which was obtained on that particular patient. So this is the basic stats of the tehsil. Like biochemistry analyzer test was performed on 89,573 patients Vital sign test of BPO2 test on 16,936, ECG test on 1,22,000, X-ray and bone density on 465 and 676 respectively, kidney function test on 2,187, lung assessment test for 476, and thyroid test for 1,647.
Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. I request you to please conclude in another 2 minutes.
Sure. I'm just left with two slides, 2 or 3 slides. The deviation detected in this is the deviation. It was found like blood pressure in 72% of male and 28% of female were found blood pressure and sugar related issue. And I have mentioned the name of the villages like Kakariya Talai, Deccan, Janakpur, Morvan and Koja. These people were not even ready to know that these kind of problem can actually persist. Heart related issues was found in 60% of the male population and 40% of the female population. That means the entire population of the Chaukan Kheda was having the heart related issue. And the prevalence of TB in the Koja village, 90% male of the total population and 10% of the female population were found with tuberculosis. As a result of these tests, it was found that more than 90% of the population had some or other minor health issues. So these were some advantages, like we have done early screening of the population, and after the screening, it became quite easier for the patients to refer them to another to any hospital and to give them a proper diagnosis and the treatment. So these were some steps taken to create awareness. Social media was involved. Like I've said, there are many villages which are scheduled caste and scheduled tribe basically. So they were not ready to interact. So we have made a youth ambassador in each and every village where they felt comfortable to talk with. So we have given a training to those ambassadors and we have talked with them, and then they became a means of communication to that particular village or particular tribe or particular that community. This is the outcome, like 329% were treated under Ayushman Bharat scheme. Health checkups have been conducted for people from all walks of life, like media personnel was also included, lawyers, every police personnel, jail inmates, administration. Around 700 camps was conducted. And 2,500 patients with hypertension and diabetes have been found, and they were registered on the NCD portal also. And 2 children were found with heart problem, and they were also referred to RBS for their further treatment. So this is the district administration aims to scale up the process. So it is not a technology driven project. Anybody at any level can perform this project. One has to do the testing and screening and just have to data very neat and clean and to be checked at least 2 points at the A&M level and then to the doctor level, so that it is not it is available with clarity, and each and every person, every patient has their data available, and ease of access. Ease of access here is the person is given a unique health ID and they can access to their history and the records. And reliability, because it is done by the expert personnel, and it is very cost effective. Like we have performed this entire project on the basis of CSR and through NGOs and through DMF fund, and we have had a very good negotiation with the private sector. So all these kind of tests in an wholesome was performed in hardly 200 rupees per person, and it was made available free for each and every patient. So big data health data analytics, it can be used to mine the information for health record. Like Government of India is also inculcating this as a creating a health stack at Government of India level, where they can made available to the health and health history of the patient on a fingertips. So this kind of exercise we have performed in Tehsil of Jawar, and in this also one can also study the disease pattern, and one can also go for further research and analytics. These are some media coverage. Thank you so much.
Jury members.
thank you. You have so lucidly, elaborately explained the way you have approached the problem, the merits of it, how it links with the other concerns, vertical and horizontal, as regards to the much awaited and much needed health services, especially in the diagnostic services at the grassroots level. And this is something an exemplary work, because you not only see a behavioral problem comes also in the way, because illness is something which is socially constructed, while a sickness is a scientific concept. So these are some of the things that you achieved, and despite all behavioral problem odds, you can mobilize the people. So I'm getting a call. Madam, may continue that. Please continue, madam.
Yeah, actually, you have done what the scheme prescribes, but you have done it differently. And that's why you have got more benefit out of the scheme than many others have done. I have no questions. You have explained so beautifully. Thank you. It's only suggestion would be to get this replicated elsewhere. First in the whole of your district and then in other districts too.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
हमारा जो शहडोल है वन ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट ट्राइबल डिस्ट्रिक्ट इन मध्य प्रदेश। इस ट्राइबल डिस्ट्रिक्ट में 8.4% SC, 44.65% ST रहते हैं। और शहडोल डिस्ट्रिक्ट की एक खास बात यह है कि बैगा प्रिमिटिव ट्राइब है, उसके लगभग 25,000 फैमिलीज, 48,000 लगभग पॉपुलेशन है बैगा की, जो टोटल पॉपुलेशन का 8% है। और हमारे शहडोल जिले में कोई मेजर इंडस्ट्री नहीं है। शहडोल में 5 ब्लॉक्स हैं, जिसमें से कि 4 ब्लॉक्स ट्राइबल ब्लॉक्स हैं। और यहाँ पर एग्रीकल्चर 34% है और वेटनरी है। और फिशरीज का जो परसेंटेज है, इसके पहले हमारे पास परसेंटेज थोड़ा कम था। फिर जब हमारी जो प्रधानमंत्री जी की प्रधानमंत्री हम लोगों को अच्छे से जब टेकअप किया, तो सर हमारे शहडोल में क्या है, शहडोल जो है तालाबों के लिए जाना जाता है। डोल मतलब तालाब, पोंड, सहस्र मतलब 1000। तो हमारे शहडोल में 2975 ग्राम पंचायत के नोटिफाइड पोंड्स हैं और 72 इरिगेशन के डैम्स हैं। और अभी हमारे यहाँ इसके पहले जो लोग हैं, जो फिश प्रोड्यूसर्स हैं, वो आंध्र प्रदेश, दिल्ली, छत्तीसगढ़, अनूपपुर और कलकत्ता में भी ये लोग यहाँ की फिश जो है बेचते हैं सर। और यहाँ का जो एक अभी यहाँ पे अभी तक कोई फिश फ्रोजन प्लांट नहीं है। अब इस स्कीम के अंतर्गत हम यहाँ पर एक लगभग 1 करोड़ का एक फिश फ्रोजन प्लांट भी अभी इसका प्रोजेक्ट हमारे यहाँ अभी बन रहा है। और सर इस स्कीम के बारे में मैं ये बताना चाहूंगी कि जो स्कीम है प्रधानमंत्री जी की मत्स्य संपदा योजना, इस स्कीम के कई इंटीग्रेंट्स हैं। इस इंटीग्रेंट्स में जो हम लोगों ने एक इंटीग्रेंट्स के मैं आपको डिस्क्राइब करना चाहूंगी। सबसे पहला है जो स्वयं की भूमि में तालाब निर्माण इनपुट, कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ रियरिंग पोन्ड्स ऑन हिज ओन लैंड, इसको अपन न्यू ग्रो आउट पोन्ड्स कहते हैं। ये हमारे शहडोल में 58 पोन्ड्स हमने बनाए हैं। इसमें मिनिमम इसका जो योजना है, इसमें 1 हेक्टेयर पर एक आदमी,
एक्सक्यूज मी आप
वहाँ जो अपना जो बेनिफिशियरी है उसके पास यदि खुद के पास उसकी 1 हेक्टेयर भूमि है, तो इस हेक्टेयर लैंड पे वो 1 पोंड के लिए उसको इस योजना में सब्सिडी मिलती है। तो SC, ST और फीमेल को 60% की सब्सिडी है और जनरल को 40% की सब्सिडी होती है। तो इसके जितने भी इंटीग्रेंट्स है, सब पे जो सब्सिडी का रेशो यही है, 60% और 40%। तो इस जो स्वयं की भूमि पे जो लोगों ने 58 तालाब बनाए हैं, जो टोटल 44 हेक्टेयर एरिया कवर करते हैं। इस तालाबों में इसमें इससे एक तो फिश प्रोडक्शन बढ़ेगा। अभी इस साल पहली बार इसमें मानसून में अभी जो बारिश हो रही है पहली बार फिश शीट डलेगा। ये तालाब अभी 21-22 में कंप्लीट हो चुके हैं। इससे वाटर कंजर्वेशन, एम्प्लॉयमेंट और फिश प्रोडक्शन भी इससे बढ़ेगा। इसमें इस जो 58 पॉन्ड्स है ये 44 हेक्टेयर एरिया कवर करते हैं और इस पे जो फिश प्रोडक्शन होगा तो 132 लाख का नेट प्रॉफिट इस तालाब के माध्यम से बेनिफिशियरी को मिलेगा। इसका जो सेकंड एंट्री रेट है फिश सीड प्रोडक्शन यूनिट, फिश सीड मत्स्य बीज संवर्धन इकाई की स्थापना। तो इस 21-22 में हमारे यहाँ ये एक यूनिट बनी है। इस एक यूनिट में इसकी यूनिट कॉस्ट आती है एक यूनिट की 7 लाख और इस एक यूनिट से इसकी जो इनकम पर ईयर 2.50 लाख की नेट प्रॉफिट में इनकम होती है। ये एक महिला है, फीमेल ने इस यूनिट की स्थापना की है। इसके बाद है केज कल्चर। हमारे यहाँ जो फिशरी सोसाइटीज हैं मैडम लगभग हमारे यहाँ एग्जैक्टली 60 फिशरी सोसाइटी है जिसमें SC ST की 33 हैं और टोटल 35 SC ST की सोसाइटीज हैं। तो इन सोसाइटीज ने जो बड़े हमारे इरिगेशन के डैम हैं यहाँ पर 66 केज कल्चर से किया है और इसमें इस केज में एक केज में 5 टन फिश का प्रोडक्शन होता है। और इस एक जो सोसाइटीज हैं यदि एक सोसाइटी इस केज माध्यम से 17.40 लाख का ईयरली ये प्रॉफिट कमा सकती है और एक यूनिट कॉस्ट है एक केज कल्चर की 3 लाख इसकी यूनिट कॉस्ट है। इसके बाद नेक्स्ट स्लाइड। अब जो वेंडर्स हैं इसमें फिश को सेल करने के लिए मार्केट में जाने के लिए सर हमारे यहाँ जो 5 ब्लॉक्स में हर एक
मूव नहीं कर रहा है मैडम।
सर मूव किया है ना सर, अभी जो सामने है साइकिल ये वाला सर, ये वाली स्लाइड साइकिल में आइस बॉक्स।
अभी आप पहले स्क्रीन में ही हैं।
नहीं मैडम नेक्स्ट स्क्रीन आ गया है,
यहाँ नहीं है।
तो ये जो आइस बॉक्स है एक बॉक्स में 10 किलो तक फिश आ जाती है और एक हाइजीन कंडीशन में एक आदमी साइकिल पे लेकर पोंड से सीधे फिश मार्केट में बेच सकता है। तो एक बार में जैसे वो 4 से 5 बार तक फिश ले जाके यदि मार्केट में बेच लेता है तो उसकी एक्स्ट्रा इनकम 5 से 10 हजार रुपया खुद होती है, बीच में कोई मीडिएटर नहीं होता है। और यदि मोटरसाइकिल से लेकर जाता है तो इसमें 9 लोग हैं, साइकिल वाले 70 बेनिफिशियरी हैं, मोटरसाइकिल के साथ 9 बेनिफिशियरी हैं। ये लोग ले जाके इसको अपनी खुद से फिश को बेचते हैं। और जो 3 है 3 व्हीलर यानी ऑटो रिक्शा के साथ आइस बॉक्स के साथ में ले जाते हैं और इनके बड़े आइस बॉक्स होते हैं तो ये 1-1 क्विंटल तक फिश ले जाकर बेचते हैं। और इनको जो 3 व्हीलर मिलता है इसमें वो मछली पकड़ने के लिए इसमें इनका जाल है और ताजी मछली पहुंचाने के लिए इनके पास बड़े बड़े इसमें आइस बॉक्स ये लोग रख के लेकर जाते हैं। तो जो लोग ऑटो यूज करते हैं उनको ज्यादा प्रॉफिट मिल जाता है और इस तरह से ये अपना मार्केटिंग और ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के लिए इसको इस योजना के अंतर्गत इससे हेल्प मिल रही है। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड। ये ऑर्नामेंटल फिश यूनिट अलंकारिक मत्स्य मछली की हमारे यहाँ एक ओबीसी है, उसने फीमेल, उसने एक ऑर्नामेंटल फिशरी मत्स्य इकाई यूनिट फिश प्रोडक्शन यूनिट बनाई है। इसमें जो एक्वेरियम में रखने वाली जो फिश है, एक्वेरियम में रखने वाली फिश है, इसको वो उसने 2 मंजिला 60 बाय 40 स्क्वायर मीटर में 2 मंजिला में बनाई हुई है और ये एक्वेरियम बना के फिश के साथ में ऑर्नामेंटल फिश के साथ सेल कर रहे हैं। इसके बाद जो नेक्स्ट है फिंगरलिंग स्टॉकिंग। डैम में मत्स्य उंगली का मतलब फिंगरलिंग स्टॉकिंग का है। यहाँ कटला, ग्रास क्रॉप, कॉमन क्रॉप जो यहाँ की मेजर फिश की वेराइटीज हैं, इसको ये इन्होंने इसका स्टॉकिंग बनाया हुआ है। इस स्टॉकिंग से जैसे मान लीजिए कि पर हेक्टेयर 1000 फिंगरलिंग का जो स्टॉक करते हैं तो ये लोग उसको 5 क्विंटल फिश बन जाती है। इससे 1000 पे 5 क्विंटल फिश बना के ये लोग 150 रुपीज किलो के हिसाब से फिश बेचते हैं। अब जब यही जब इसको एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं तो 200 से 250 केजी उसको बेच लेते हैं। और इसके बाद है हैचरी। तो एक हैचरी भी हमारे यहाँ इस योजना के अंतर्गत एक हैचरी बनी है। ये सीड का उत्पादन करके तालाबों में सीड का उत्पादन करके इनको फिश को सेल करते हैं। यहाँ से सीड प्रोडक्शन जो है, सीड जो है तालाब वाले इनको लेकर जाते हैं और ये इस हैचरी में ब्रीडर्स हैं जो कि फेवरेबल जब इनका सीजन होता है तब ये एग से हैच करके सीड बनाते हैं जो कि तालाबों में जाता है सर। इसके बाद हमारे यहाँ इस योजना के अंतर्गत एक सबसे मेन चैलेंजेस ये है कि हमारे थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट एरिया है। यहाँ पर SC ST पॉपुलेशन ज्यादा है, तो उनको मेन स्ट्रीम में लाने के लिए जो हमारे बैगा हैं इनको हमको एक्टिव बनाना होता है, क्योंकि अभी ये लोग अपने पारंपरिक तरीके से, ट्रेडिशनल तरीके से एग्रीकल्चर में और पशुपालन में जाते हैं। इनको फिश की तरफ, फिशरीज भी एक अच्छा प्रॉफिटेबल है, इसकी तरफ मोटिवेट करने के लिए लगातार काउंसलिंग करना पड़ती है। और फिशरी सोसाइटीज है हमारे 60, पर उसमें जो कुछ एक्टिव मेंबर्स ही कम, एक्टिव मेंबर ज्यादा लोगों को चलाते हैं। तो वो एक अवेयरनेस हमारे यहाँ है, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ मार्केट अच्छा है, ये लोग यहाँ पे फिश का आजू बाजू के जिलों में भी अच्छा जाता है। और हमारा जो फ्यूचर का रोड मैप है कि अभी हमने जो 58 तालाब इस योजना के अंतर्गत लिए थे, अभी हमारे यहाँ प्रधानमंत्री जी के अमृत महोत्सव कार्यक्रम में हर जिले को 75 तालाब बनाने हैं ग्राम पंचायत विभाग के हिसाब से। तो हम लोगों ने 100 पोंड बनाए हैं, तो हम उसको 58 + 100, तो हम अगले फ्यूचर रोड मैप पे हम उसको 150 पोंड पे ले जाएंगे। तो इससे इनकम इससे भी ज्यादा बढ़ेगी। और हम जो शेड्यूल है वो इंक्रीज है विद पोंड। और हमारे यहाँ जो सैम और मैम बच्चे हैं, इनको सैम मैम से बाहर लाने के लिए हमने एक लोकल ये किया है कि जो भी फिश प्रोडक्शन सोसाइटीज हैं वो 10% आंगनबाड़ी में जो गर्भवती माता है और बच्चों के लिए देंगे, तो देते हैं। तो इससे भी इनका जो प्रोटीन पे आगे इनको प्रोटीन मिलेगा, तो इससे हम इससे भी बाहर आ सकते हैं। इसके बाद बायोफ्लॉक स्थापना, सर एक और स्लाइड है बायोफ्लॉक। हमारे यहाँ पे जहां पर कि जिन किसानों के पास पानी की कमी है, जगह कम है और उसमें छोटा तालाब है कम एरिया में, तो बायोफ्लॉक में उसमें एक एरिया में वो कम से कम 5 से 7 छोटे छोटे पोंड बनाकर वहां पे प्रॉपर एरिएशन करके लाइट व्यवस्था करके ये साल में 2 क्रॉप ले सकते हैं इससे। और यहाँ पे इस मछली के वेस्ट को भी उसके फूड में कन्वर्ट करते हैं। तो 2 क्रॉप लेने पे एक क्रॉप पे 1.5 लाख अर्न होते हैं, तो 2 क्रॉप में लगभग 3 लाख ये लोग अर्न कर सकते हैं। फिर फीड मील, यहाँ पर एक हाई प्रोटीन फूड फिश को देने के लिए इसमें मेज, मक्का और रॉ मटेरियल मिला के हमारे यहाँ जो एक KMC एंटरप्राइज है, इसने अभी 2021 के फाइनेंशियल ईयर में 8.32 लाख का नेट प्रॉफिट अर्न किया है। इसका वैल्यू एडिशन करके अब ये लोग पिछले चूंकि लोन लिए हैं, तो ये लोन को कम करने के बाद अगले फाइनेंशियल ईयर में आगे उनको और ज्यादा प्रॉफिट होगा। एक कियोस्क, एक हमारे यहाँ सिंहपुर एरिया में एक कियोस्क बनाया है, तो वहां पर वो फ्रेश फिश भी बेचते हैं और इसके अलावा कटलेट, फ्राई वगैरह जो चीजें वो भी बना के बेचते हैं। एक अच्छा एक पॉपुलर आउटलेट है। और हमारी जो सोसाइटी के बचत सह राहत, इस सोसाइटी के जितने भी सक्रिय सदस्य हैं, ये 150 रुपीज पर मंथ यदि ये जमा करते हैं सोसाइटी में, तो इनका जो इस ऑफ सीजन आता है 15 जून से 15 अगस्त, तो ये 150 रुपीज पर मंथ जमा करने पर 3 महीने के जो ऑफ सीजन है उसको 3000 रुपए प्रति माह उनको अपना फैमिली अर्न करने के लिए मिलता है। तो 150 मेंबर्स ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने इस योजना का लाभ लिया है। अब हमारे इस फ्यूचर रोड मैप पे हम इन सबको इंक्रीज करना चाहेंगे। और अभी इस जो पूरी इस प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना है, इससे टोटल हमारा जो इनकम का जो हम लोगों ने एक अनुमान लगाया है 2.62 करोड़। यदि कोई विपरीत परिस्थिति नहीं आई तो इसका जो है लाभ इस योजना से यहाँ के बेनिफिशियरीज को मिलेगा। जो गत वर्ष 2.10 करोड़ था, इस वर्ष हम उसको 2.62 करोड़ पे हमने 2.62 करोड़ पे ले जाने का हमारा सर प्लान है। ये एक तालाब है जो कि अब इस सीजन में, अभी रेनी सीजन यहाँ चल रहा है, इस सीजन में इस तालाब में इसमें सब फिश का प्रोडक्शन होगा सर। और ये हमारे जो फिंगरलिंग्स हैं उसको हम तालाबों में डाल के, जो लोगों ने लीज पे लिए हैं तालाब, उसमें हम डालते हैं सर। ये फिट मील है। और इन्हीं लोगों ने जो है फ्रोजन प्लांट भी बनाने के लिए, इन्हीं लोगों ने, केएमसी है, ये ओबीसी महिला है, ये बना रही है। इससे फिश फ्रोजन होगा तो इसको ये विदेशों में तक में, फॉरेन में एक्सपोर्ट करने का प्लान बनाया हुआ है। इनको हम लोग मार्केट उपलब्ध करवाएंगे सर। थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू। आपने जहां बाकी सारे साधने, आर्थिक साधनाएं खत्म हो जाती है और हम सारे काफी हद तक जो ट्रेडिशनल कन्वेंशनल आर्थिक साधनाओं को देखते हैं, आप उससे हट के विशेष रूप से मत्स्य संपदा पे फोकस करके जो परिवर्तन लाए, जो उन्नति लाए हैं, वो उल्लेखनीय है। लेकिन एक बात मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ कि आपका क्या वहां पे पानी ये के रेन फेड है या पेरेनियल सोर्सेस है, कैसे करते हैं आप? दूसरा, जहाँ पे एक मिनट, जहाँ पे मैं एक बार पूछ लूं, आप सारा दे दीजिए। जहाँ पे रेन फेड है, आपका वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग का क्या साधन रखे आपने? दूसरा, और वाटर रिटेंशन जो है फिशरी साइकिल के लिए कितना दिन तक टैंकी में रहता है, और फिश यील्डिंग के लिए कितना मैक्सिमम वाटर होना जरूरी है, और वो जरूरी के मुताबिक आप उसका कैसे इंश्योर करते हैं कि वाटर रहे? बाकी आपके जो मार्केटिंग स्ट्रेटेजी अच्छा है, और आपने नया रास्ता भी देखे, फ्रोजन ताकि वेस्ट ना हो, क्योंकि दीज आर पेरिसेबल आइटम्स हैं। और आपने और भी बताया कि आपने ऑर्नामेंटल फिश भी शुरू की है। ये सारे होने के बाद जितना आपने किए उसके प्रयास में, अगर आप हमें जानना चाहेंगे कि आर्थिक उन्नति के हिसाब से परिवार को ऑन एवरेज कितना फायदा हुआ होगा, और मैं जानता हूँ शेड्यूल में बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन SC/ST बहुत है, तो उनको इसके माध्यम से कितना फैमिली बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन से ऊपर आए?
सर हमारे यहाँ रेनफेड, हमारे यहाँ जो मानसून पे ही निर्भर करते हैं। और हमारे यहाँ जो तालाब हैं, यदि 4 फीट से 5 फीट तक पानी साल भर गहराई में अवेलेबल रहता है तो फिश प्रोडक्शन आराम से हो जाता है। और मानसून पे डिपेंडेंसी है, और ये मानसून पे जो डिपेंडेंट तालाब है, इनमें साल भर पानी रहता है। मैंने खुद देखे तो तालाबों में साल भर पानी रहता है। और आर्थिक स्थिति के हिसाब से सर ये जो मैक्सिमम 10,000 और मिनिमम 3,000 पर मंथ ये लोग कमा लेते।
इसके ये मत्स्य संपदा के अलावा और क्या उनको साधन है? जैसे कृषि क्या है और क्या है साधन है इसके अलावा?
ये लोग यहाँ पर एग्रीकल्चर है। एग्रीकल्चर सबसे ज्यादा यहाँ पेडी एरिया है। धान बहुत ज्यादा होता है, 70% पेडी एरिया है सर यहाँ पर। और जो ट्रेडिशनल फॉरेस्ट फूड है, चिरौंजी है, एलोवेरा है, कुट्टू है, और ये ट्राइबल फूड कोदो, कुट्टी, ये सब ज्यादा होता है यहाँ से।
मुझे पता है कि जो पेडी इंटेंसिव एरिया होता है उसमें पानी कम से कम 3 महीना फील्ड में रहना पड़ता है, तो उसमें भी काफी वेराइटीज फिश जो है वो 3 महीने में यील्ड कर लेते हैं। उसका कुछ आपने कुछ उसके प्रयास किए?
सर उस पे हम लोग विचार कर रहे हैं। जो पेडी वाले एरिया हैं उसमें सर हम लोग बिल्कुल निश्चित इस योजना पे भी काम करने वाले हैं सर। अभी सोइंग सीजन चल रहा है पेडी का।
बहुत अच्छा, धन्यवाद।
अच्छा, ये जो आपने काम किया है, काफी मेहनत तो करी है, बट जहां तक मेरे समझ में है PMMSY स्कीम में ये सारे के प्रोविजन है।
जी सर।
तो आपने उसमें क्या इनोवेटिव इनपुट दिया है ताकि इस प्रोजेक्ट बाकी लोगों के सारे जगह पे ये कर ही रहे हैं, तो आपने क्या एक्स्ट्रा किया जिसके लिए आपको इस अवार्ड के लिए कंसिडर किया जा सकता है? उसको थोड़ा विस्तार में बता दें।
सर हमने एसटी के जो लोग हैं, एसटी पॉपुलेशन का। जैसे अभी हमारे यहाँ टोटल जो मैंने आपको प्रेजेंटेशन दिया, इसमें हमने 88% SC ST ट्राइब को जोड़ा है, तो उससे उनके अपलिफ्टमेंट में प्रयास मिलेगा। और इनको जो हमारे जो प्रिमिटिव ट्राइब है उनके जो काउंसलिंग वगैरह करके उनको, क्योंकि इतने सारे तालाब में उनको जोड़ना एक बहुत बड़ा टास्क है, तो इनको तालाबों का एक तो बेहतर उपयोग में हमने काम किया कि हम तालाब जो है सिर्फ उनको हम वाटर कंजर्वेशन आज की हमारी सबसे बड़ी जरूरत है, हमारा वाटर लेवल नीचे ना जाए, इस कारण से तालाबों से हम वाटर कंजर्वेशन में जा रहे हैं, एम्प्लॉयमेंट में जा रहे हैं, और हमारी जो प्रिमिटिव ट्राइब को आगे लाने में हमारी मदद और उनकी जो मंथली इनकम है उसमें थोड़ा सपोर्ट मिल जा रहा है, जिससे उनके लाइफ का जो स्टैंडर्ड है थोड़ा ऊपर हो सके। मैं इतना ही बता पाऊंगी।
अच्छा, ठीक है। जब बायोस्कोप बायोस्लॉक जो प्रोजेक्ट, व्हाट आई अंडरस्टैंड इज यू मेक अ टैंक ऑफ सम काइंड ऑफ अ फैब्रिकेशन, उसको पॉन्ड में रखा जाता है सो दैट फिश इज इनसाइड दैट, और उसी के अंदर वो कल्टीवेट होते हैं पॉन्ड में, पूरा पॉन्ड में फैल नहीं जाते, सो आपका जो फीड वगैरह सब कंसेंट्रेट होके वहां पे रहता है और मछली उसमें ग्रो करते हैं। सो विथ लेस इनपुट मोर फिश कैन ग्रो। मुझे जितना समझ में है इस प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में, जो मैं जानती हूँ बाकी जगह पे होती है। तो लेकिन जो लोगों ने ये शुरू किया है, बहुत दिनों से, ये कम से कम 5-7 साल से ये चल रहा है, पहले 2-3 साल वो सही चलता है, उसके बाद उनका जो आपने कहा है कि जो वेस्ट फिश का एक्सक्रीटा जो और जो मैला वो निकालते हैं उसको साफ करना बिकम्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट और टीडियस, तो क्लीनिंग बिकम्स मोर टीडियस देन एक्चुअली द गेन यू गेट फ्रॉम दिस। सो 3-4 साल के बाद ये जो फ्लॉक की जो प्रोजेक्ट है वो बंद हो जाता है। आपके यहाँ पे कोई सक्सेस हुआ है क्या? Then that can be emulated by others. मेरा पूछने का कारण यह है कि अगर आपके यहाँ पे सक्सेस हुई है, then that should be listed and put it somewhere as a case study which can be emulated by others. बहुत जगह पे हमने सुना है कि वो फेल हो रहा है after few years.
यहाँ पर मैडम हर कल्चर के बाद उसको क्लीन करते हैं।
हाँ, बस
एक यही तरीका है कि हर कल्चर के बाद उसको क्लीन करते रहते हैं, तो फिर वो फेल नहीं होता। और एरेशन प्रॉपर होना चाहिए, 24 आवर्स लाइट होना चाहिए, ये 2 चीजें हैं, तो फिर वो सक्सेसफुल रहता है।
नहीं, वो तो ठीक है, दैट प्रोसीजर इज फॉलोड, लेकिन उसके बाद भी लोगों का कहना है, जिनका फेल हुआ है उनका कहना है जो क्लीनिंग प्रोसेस है, एंड एक सीजन के बाद क्लीन करना इनफ नहीं है, दे हैव टू क्लीन इट ऑलमोस्ट एवरी वीक और समथिंग लाइक दैट। द फ्रीक्वेंसी इज मच हायर बिकॉज फिश इज केप्ट इन अ कन्फाइंड स्पेस। तो उनको कहना है कि इसमें जो हमारा एडवांटेज है, जो गेन होता है, प्रॉफिट होता है, उससे ज्यादा हमें मेहनत करना पड़ता है टू कीप इट क्लीन एंड मेंटेन इट, एंड दैट्स व्हाई दे लीव इट आफ्टर फ्यू इयर्स। आपके एक्सपीरियंस क्या कहता है?
अभी तो हमारे यहाँ मैडम अभी सब सक्सेसफुल रहे हैं। अभी
कितने साल हुए हैं?
अभी 2 साल से ये योजना अभी 2 साल की, तो सेकंड ईयर है
लोगों का। हाँ, दैट्स ओके प्रोबेबली। सो अगर आपको 2 साल के बाद भी सक्सेस मिलता है, 3-4 साल के बाद, तो मेरा सजेशन ये रहेगा कि इसको आप शेयर करिए कहीं पे, सो दैट अदर्स whose cases have failed, they will get benefit out of your experience.
थैंक यू मैम, करेंगे।
मैडम जो कह रहे हैं बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग है कि जो इनका जो फिश ड्रॉप्स होती है वैसा वो टॉक्सिक हो जाता आफ्टर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, एंड देन द land's yielding capacity and the economic value goes down. It becomes absolutely good for nothing. But there are research going on. There are organisms are there which can consume. जैसे इन चिलिका लेक में जो बर्ड्स ड्रॉप्स होती है उसमें फिश को ज्यादा फायदा नहीं होता, प्रॉन्स को ज्यादा फायदा होती है। तो देयर इज ऑलवेज ए नेचर which accommodates.
As we know, any matter of good governance, the litmus test is Gandhi's talisman, wherein we should take in. As we know, any matter of good governance, the litmus test is Gandhi's talisman, wherein we should take into consideration the last man standing, the needs of the last man standing. And therefore, in this scenario, we are focusing not just on the people as numbers, but on their own respective identities, their background, and their framework. Arnold Ehret had said, life is a tragedy of nutrition. So that it does not become tragedy in a demographic dividend, the focus was on reducing malnourishment in Bakuda. Because of COVID lockdown, the ICDS centers were closed, and therefore proper supplementary nutrition was not provided, and thus the number of malnourished children actually rose from 700 in 2019 to around 1627 in 2020. And therefore, this Operation Pushti was launched, which is a story of Nourish to Flourish. The main stumbling blocks were four. One is the malnourishment among 0 to 6 years of children. The fact is that it was already prevalent in Bakuda because, one, it is a very backward region. Second, around more than 40% population belongs to SC and ST community and the backward classes, leading to more malnourishment in the children prevalent. Second is identification of severely underweight children. The fact is that while we do have various community health centers and primary health centers, proper testing, proper measurement, and proper height measurement was not taken. And therefore, we could not identify the malnourished children. Third was the welfare of rural backward families of severe underweight children, because undernourishment and malnourishment is not just a factor of food, but also a factor of mother's health, mother's background, father's health, family income, and many more. And lack of awareness of relationship between nutrition and growth of children, as is normally prevalent across. Therefore, the countermeasures was the first important thing was we provided supplementary nutrition along with what is provided under ICDS scheme of Poshan Abhiyan. Through the help of CSR funding, we provided 1 kg Nutrimix by Cine every month. Along with that, 1 egg per day. And this was not just providing them, but also feeding by the Anganwadi workers at the respective homes of the undernourished children. Second was training of the Anganwadi workers, because they needed to be trained on how to guide the parents of the children on how to feed them, in what quantities it needs to be taken, and also regarding training of breastfeeding properly. And most important thing is ensuring medical facilities. One is regular checkups in the primary health centers. And second is, again, totally rejuvenation of the nutritional rehabilitation centers, which was not very well at that time. This is the OOMF structure, OOMF, which is Output Outcome Monitoring Framework. First was the provision of supplementary nutrition, which actually consisted of Nutrimix and eggs, and it catered to SDG 1 and 2. Second, along with that, was footwear distribution. While we know that not just food, but also water and flatworms, because of lack of proper footwear, can lead to undernourishment, and therefore distribution of slippers were also done to all the identified people, catering to SDG 3 of good health. Third was water filter. So as to reduce waterborne diseases of diarrhea and etc., we actually distributed water filters to all the families affected due to malnourishment in the list, and therefore catering to SDG 6. Fourth was medical facilities, including 2 factors, as I mentioned. One was, again, regular checkup of health and height and weight in the primary health centers, and NRCs to be rejuvenated. And again, most important is ECCE, wherein we are focusing on institutional framework as well. One is following the 4-corner rule of ICDS Anganwadi centers, so as to attract the children to come to the centers. And second is, again, training of the Anganwadi workers and making them responsible and putting the onus on them on whether the children are coming to the ICDS centers or not, and whether they are being fed properly or not. The impediments, as we know, are normal, wherein the extra budgeting, extra funds allocation, procurement of big eggs and CD Nutrimix powder, and also regular checkup of the children. Therefore, the strategies introduced, as I mentioned. Along with that, we also focused on income substitution strategies. One was distribution of heifers and black goats to the parents of the malnourished children, so that they become more capable of feeding their children in the right proper quantity. And second was also including the mothers of the children as SHG members and providing them various funding for various activities, which actually helped them a lot. out of 1627 children, around 1,000 children's parents are already in the SHG as a member of the SHGs, and many of them are also involved in school uniform stitching, in poultry, in various other activities. These are some of the photographs. One is distribution of footwear, and the other is distribution of water filters, as I mentioned. And we can see the prior and subsequent intervention inside. While on one hand, we see how the facial observations, the physical observations, the morale, everything was very low. And on the other hand, we actually also conducted an action research model wherein we conducted a survey of all the children and their families impacted due to malnourishment. And on the basis of this feedback, we understood that actually, on one hand, while we see quantitative progress in with respect to malnourishment, on the other hand, qualitative review has also increased, wherein they are rating the Anganwadi workers and the centers highly. And second, their own morale and their own awareness has increased to a great extent. We can see the prior and subsequent scenario using the NRDMS system. Here, while we also focused upon Pareto approach, wherein we identified the blocks or the gram panchayats which had the highest number of malnourished children, and we actually went for a mission mode approach in those areas, and we can see the result on the right hand. And this is just one example, a girl named Maya, how she could not even stand up on her feet before, and after 7 months of this operation Pushti, she was hale and hearty and actually showed improvement in the BMI. This is block-wise report of SAM, MAM, and normal children. We can see it has reduced to a great extent. And the outreach can also be seen. One more aspect is forward augmentative planning, wherein we are focusing upon Pushti Plus. Pushti Plus actually takes into account not just the children, but also pregnant and lactating mothers. And they are also given a supplementary food, and also they are included as income substitution programs. And second, we are also focusing on the concept of buddy mothers, wherein the mother of a hale and hearty child of the same Anganwadi center is tagged to the other mother of this malnourished child, so as to go for people's participation. We can see we are concentrating on the health of high-risk pregnant mothers, as in Pushti Plus. Also, along with Cine Nutrimix and Next, we are focusing upon distribution of soya chunks if possible, if we get the proper funding. Increasing the PHE water connection. While we are giving them water filters, we are focusing upon giving water connections to every household and focusing upon the undernourished children families in the first step. And convergence of NRLM with NREGS to boost family income. And we can see the outcomes. The number of SU children has reduced by 60% in just 5 months, in just 7 months of time. And in remaining 40%, most of the SAM children actually reduced and shifted to MAM. We can see Anganwadi workers are better trained, and also their morale is high because we actually rejuvenated all the Anganwadi centers. We painted them. We actually followed Bala model. We actually followed 4-corner rule so as to attract children to the Anganwadi centers. We can see some pictures. One is how spot feeding is being done, how awareness has been created, how supplementary nutrition is being given. One more aspect is evidence-based policy making recommendations. We can also go for vulnerable focus-based approach, wherein we focus upon SC, ST, or OBC focused areas or focused areas, so that we can actually hit the nail on the head. And second is awareness through Sabla, wherein married couples, the age of the marriage and number of pregnancies is also counseled to the newly married couples, so as to reduce the element of malnourishment in the children who are born. One more thing is, again, Duare Swasthya. While we do have various schemes like Duare Ration and Duare Sarkar, we are focusing upon Duare Swasthya, where regular health checkups can be done at the doorstep itself. And in the long term, again, we need convergence of all the models. In this operation Pushti, we have converged various departments, including NREGS, food and supply, school education, ICDS, water connection, PHE, we also NREGS. So it was a convergence of all the departments taken together, and I hope that if we go forward by like this, it can be something, a model emulated for across India. And for the ending lines, those shining eyes with sun-bright hope, including the dull cheeks, the darkness grow, to enlighten their stomachs, faces and gut, nourish their minds so they make the cut, and hearts and souls empowered they be, so their poverty doesn't have to pay the fee. We yearn for smiles, so demography we earn, and include all of them to teach and learn. To build a future, a tomorrow be great, start now should we, lest we be late. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See, to begin with, I will like to know what is that ICDS as such does not offer and you are providing especially in addition or supplementing to what ICDS program, be it nutrition, be it growth monitoring, be it pre-education, be it SHG group organized, be it package supplementation of food, all are given by the ICDS program as such. Now, what is special that you have done that I will make a note of it?
For the distribution of Nutrimix and eggs, we have a Pushti card, wherein every day the Anganwadi workers go for spot feeding.
This is being done many states. I know I was dealing with the ICDS, so it's done also.
So one
that's
was
not something
Pushti
new.
card. So second, so Pushti card was there so that the mother of the child actually approved that I have received the Nutrimix and the egg. The second was while the distribution of water filters and the distribution of slippers, this was done to the BDO office, not from the ICDS office.
Now,
So
distribution of water filters to the Anganwadi centers?
So it was done through the BDO office, sir. The BDOs and the CDPOs were actually
Where
made.
you provide? It's in the Anganwadi centers, isn't it? Whoever
No,
provides.
sir. It was not in the Anganwadi center, sir. We actually went to two strategies were followed. If the houses are near the BDO office, it was in the BDO. It was through the BDO office itself, and if it is far away
I got it.
Yeah, in the far GP, we did through officials who went to the home.
Let me frame the question first, please. Okay, let me speak. So now we provided additionally a water filter. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And during COVID period, you said that ICDS was closed, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So how do they manage to get potable water at home? Number two, your growth monitoring, you are not reflected as to ASA worker regularly goes, checks with the adults and girls, expectant and lactating mothers as to how they are doing and counseling. All these things are a part of the ICDS.
Yes,
I understand that. Okay, even the nutrition package that you give on record, that is also done. Attendance of the ICDS children and the ICDS helper doing all that, and SHG group providing food, and all these things are pretty normal. Yes. Except for that, the water filter that you spoke about, everything is normal. What is more that you've done that you will see as an exceptional, unique service that you are providing in ICDS program, that you can claim that this needs recognition.
So can I answer now?
Sure.
Sir, so apart from the foods, the supplementary nutrition, which you said is very normal. So we focus on three additional areas. One was footwear distribution, second was water filters, and third was income substitution. So while we are not hitting the nail on the head, we are just feeding them for a day. If we provide the income substitution, sir. So we to the fathers and the mothers of the malnourished children, we are giving on one hand we are giving them job card for NREJS. On the second hand, the mother of the child is included as a member of the SHG, and a source of income is provided to her so that she earns proper income, so that the family is not dependent on just the government roles. They can actually improve the situation of nutrition in their homes itself. So, income substitution is also a very important element which we provided in this framework. And so, the first question which you mentioned, that if the Anganwadi centers were closed, how the water filters were distributed. So, it was not through the Anganwadi centers. We went to the doorsteps of the children and we distributed the water filters and the footwear at their homes. It was not through the Anganwadi centers because it was already closed. And therefore, when I mentioned about spot feeding, it was not in the Anganwadi centers. The Anganwadi workers actually went to their homes and spot fed the child. And it was done on a daily basis. The surprise checks was done from the DM office, from the SDM office, from the BDO office, from the CDPO office. And we actually, and as I mentioned, with the Pushti card which was there was proof that the mother has received the Nutrimix and the eggs. And whenever we went on a surprise check, we counted the number of eggs. So eggs was given on a weekly basis. So for example, on Monday we gave 7 eggs. We went on Wednesday, for example, and we checked whether they have the 4 eggs or not, because 3 eggs should have been consumed by Wednesday.
So what is the cost that you, in addition to what you get from the center, you provide each Anganwadi?
Sir, for the eggs, we are giving them 4.5 or 5 rupees for the eggs. That is being procured by the Anganwadi worker or by the CDPO of that block. Second, for the semi nutri mix, we are procuring at the state at the district level and providing them to the centers. And this was done through CSR for the first 3 months, and then it was regularized through the help of DMF and DIF fund. We are ourselves funding the entire semi nutri mix wala package.
Okay, once the DIF withdraws, because it generally do after some time.
So we have DMF, sir.
Achha.
And
Okay.
moreover, this was so as to ameliorate the status of increased malnutrition because of COVID. Now the Anganwadi centers have also opened. We, on one hand, again, awareness has also been created, sir, because the parents themselves did not know the children are malnourished. So that awareness has been created, and also not just through the help of spot feeding or
All right, you are repeating yourself. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
See, most of the interventions you are talking about are part of the scheme. They are all prescribed in the scheme. Okay, so but you might have done it differently, and the outcomes would be great. So basically, what we would like to know, if this is going to stand out among all other similar projects in the country, then you have to come up with the results. Or like, suppose you can come up saying that through this intervention, because eggs are supplied, like Mr. Panda said, eggs are being supplied, the prescribed, I think 3 to 4 eggs per week or something like that. Many states are doing it. So that is not the point. The point is, after doing all this, if you can show that there has been a drastic reduction in the number of malnourished children, or about the growth of the children during the first 5 years, or the death because of malnutrition has reduced. So those kind of numbers, if you can show and give a comparative analysis, and then what are you going to do for those particular areas where the difficulties are more, it will be more meaningful.
Ma'am, I have taken your point. Ma'am, on the screen, you can see we have shown the figures. From October to April, it has reduced to 658. And then this was for the entire district.
No, but the point is no. You are probably, see, these numbers are there. That is not the point. Point is, malnutrition is something which cannot be remedied in 3 weeks intervention or 6 months intervention. It's a long-term project. So you have to do it on year by year, not in 6 months or 8 months like that.
Yes, ma'am.
It doesn't happen, having by taking very rich nutritious food. You can't say that in 6 months a child will grow from say 11 kg to 20. It doesn't happen like that. It's a very slow process. So you have to give a long-term, yearly analysis kind of thing. So this is okay. This is also year-wise. But then what action are you taking on the data here? One is putting the data, which you have done. But on the basis of data, what action are you taking? Concentrating your attention to a particular place where it is not happening, or taking lessons from where it has happened very well. So that kind of things will give the project more value.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, as you mentioned, we have the data now, and following the action research model, first of all, we actually followed Pareto principle in the month of November, when we noticed that some particular blocks were actually showing a rate of increase in malnutrition, or some had greater corners of malnourished children. We focus on those areas first. And second, ma'am, what you said, that what for future aspect, because this is a continuous process, ma'am, so as to make it ingenious in the society, we are following on people's participation through buddy mother concept. And second, as already mentioned, at the cost of repeating and mentioning, that through income substitution, we are making the families aware that if you're having income, providing them income opportunities and providing them awareness to treat and feed their children properly. And then secondly, also one more aspect is that we have collected data not just on weight and height, but also on what measures were taken. For example, whether breastfeeding was done in the within 30 minutes or not, or also regarding whether the delivery of the child was institutional or not, or also like the number of children in the family of malnourished, or that the age of the mother at the time of
these aspects are pretty normative. It's nothing new about it. The rest of the country doing it, some doing in a better way, some doing it differently. The question is that you also mentioned that there are 40 to 50% of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe.
Yes, sir.
Population. Okay.
Yes,
in the severity of malnutrition and stunted growth and all that is visible. Okay. What? And now, if you know that there are 40 to 50% of SC/STs who are pretty vulnerable, then what equity-based funds you provided from the SC/SP TSP funds?
Yeah, so as you mentioned that around 40% population is SC/ST, we focused on those areas also. When I mentioned about Pareto principle, we identified the blocks which had high amount of SC/ST population as well. And so the funds were not given from SC/ST funds separately. It was a part of Operation Pushti itself.
No, you're not getting my point. There is a specific fund for Selka subplan and tribal subplan.
Yes,
have
sir.
you mobilized that funds? It is a mandated fund. It's not that you have to take. It's a mandated fund. Have
Yes,
you
sir.
mobilized that fund in an optimal way, so that in an equity-based way, so that the problem is addressed and the funds are provided as required?
So the TSP fund was actually used for providing, one was skill training to the family members, and second was them goats and heifers as by way of income substitution. For fooding, TSP fund was not used because TSP fund is normally used for income substitution, skill training, and providing.
No. You don't tell me. I am the one who drafted TSP. Don't tell me that.
No, I mean in our
SCA to TSP. No. Anyway, you don't know much about it. Anyway, thanks.
Thanks. Yeah.